All right, today we're going underground. Or maybe it's better to say underfoot. We are peeling back the layers of concrete and steel to get a look at the hidden electrical nervous system inside our buildings. So let's just dive right in.
You ever walk through a big modern building and just wonder, what's really holding all this together? Well, it's definitely not just concrete. Buried deep inside is this super complex web of pipes and wires, a silent, totally invisible system that, well, it powers our entire world. And here's the kicker. Getting it right is a one-shot deal.
So, there's this tiny, tiny window of time. You could call it a moment of truth for an electrical inspector. They have to step onto a floor that isn't really a floor yet. It's just this wild web of steel rebar and plastic conduits. This is literally the last chance anyone has to see the building's electrical skeleton before it gets encased in concrete forever.
And that's exactly what makes this whole process so incredibly high stakes. Any little error, any miscalculation, any shortcut someone might take at this stage, it doesn't just get covered up. No, it gets permanently sealed in concrete. It becomes this hidden flaw that could cause enormous problems for decades to come.
So you can see why the inspector's mission is so critical. They have to make sure the building's electrical DNA is absolutely perfect before it's locked away for good. Now, they face a few key challenges, and the first one, well, it might actually surprise you.
Okay, so here's something you probably don't think about much. Huge buildings aren't static. They're not just sitting there, they breathe. They literally expand when it gets hot and contract when it gets cold. And this constant, subtle movement, it poses a massive threat to all the rigid electrical pipes running right through them. To handle all that movement, engineers design these intentional gaps right into the structure, and they're called expansion joints. Just think of them like the bellows of an accordion, They let the building flex without breaking. But that raises a big question. How in the world do you run an electrical wire across a gap that's designed to move? Well, one thing's for sure, you can't just run a rigid pipe straight across it. The second the building shifts, that pipe would get pulled from both ends and eventually snap. And just like that, you've lost power. The only way to make this work is to come up with a solution that can actually move with the building. And the solution is, honestly, kind of brilliant in its simplicity. Instead of trying to use one long, rigid pipe, the engineers install a junction box on either side of that gat. Then, they just connect those two boxes with a piece of flexible conduit that can easily bend and stretch as the joint does its thing. It's a really elegant fix to a massive engineering problem. But wait, there's another crucial detail here. A real pro tip. It's not enough for just the pipe to be flexible. The wires inside that pipe need some slack too. The rule of thumb is to leave about 60 centimeters of extra wire coiled up inside the junction boxes. This makes sure that the wires themselves never get pulled tight enough to snap. Okay, on to the next challenge. So we know the pipes can handle the building moving around. Now we have to worry about what's going on inside those pipes. The inspector's next job is to prevent what could become a tangled, chaotic, and dangerous mess of circuits. And this really gets to the core of it. Think of it like a subway map. Every single light and every power outlet is a station on a very specific line or circuit. The inspector's job is basically to walk those lines before they're buried, making absolutely sure the green line only connects to green line stations and the red line only connects to red line stations. No accidental and definitely no dangerous transfers between them. And why does this matter so much? Well, because messy circuits are dangerous. A single accidental link can overload a line, which creates a serious fire hazard. It can cause all sorts of mysterious malfunctions, turn future repairs into a total nightmare, and lead to breakers that just keep tripping for no obvious reason. Clean circuits are, quite simply, safe circuits. So our conduits are flexible and our circuits are clean. The next challenge is purely physical. It's navigating the dense steel skeleton of the slab itself, what's known as the rebar maze. I mean, this is a real physical puzzle. These conduits have to be carefully woven through this dense grid of steel. If you put them in the wrong place, they could get completely crushed under the immense weight of the concrete when it's poured. Or even worse, if you bundle too many of them together, you can create a weak point that could compromise the structural integrity of the entire floor. So how do they solve this potential traffic jam? It really just comes down to density. If you've only got a few conduits in one area, the standard way to do it is to lay them under the first layer of rebar. But if an area starts to get crowded, the inspector makes sure they're split up. Some of the conduits run below the rebar, and some are placed right on top. This distributes them evenly and prevents any single weak spot from forming in the finished slab. And now we're at the final piece of this whole puzzle. How does an inspector know the slab's fundamental design just by looking at it? Well, they don't have to guess. Turns out, there's a secret code. Right there on the structural blueprints for the building, there's a small but incredibly powerful piece of information. It's just a simple number that tells the inspector everything they need to know about the complexity of the rebar maze they're about to walk into. You'll just see a number. A lot of times it's inside a square, right on the drawing. This number, this is the slab code. It might look totally random, but it's the key that unlocks the entire design. So for example, let's take the number 16. What does that actually tell us? Cracking this code is, you'll be surprised, incredibly simple. If that number is 16 or less, it means the slab has a single layer of rebar. But if the number is 18 or more, they're dealing with a much denser double layer of rebar. This one little number instantly tells the inspector the rules of the maze they're in and exactly how those conduits have to be placed. So this all comes together in the inspector's final mental checklist before they give the okay. Are the expansion joints flexible? Yep. Are the circuits clean and isolated? Check. Are the conduits placed correctly in the rebar maze? Got it. And does it all match the slab code on the blueprint? Yes. If and only if the answer is yes to all of these, then it's safe to pour the concrete. All of this stuff reveals this incredible, hidden world of engineering that's literally just beneath our feet. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other invisible systems, what other secret codes are all around us? Just quietly keeping our world safe and running every single day.